Hi everyone, Mark Edward Willows here. Welcome once again to Gavin Cabin. Yes, I know we are in a different area today, actually on location for the very first time, and I'm really excited about it because I have a gentleman sitting here next to me that I am really looking forward to talking to. And as you can see, he is dressed like a police officer, imitating Barney Fife from the old Andy Griffith Show. And the reason I am speaking with this gentleman, his name, by the way, is Mike Havland, and he is an actor, and he is going to be starring in the movie called Mayberry Man, where, get this, Mayberry is sort of recreated, and this gentleman plays Sergeant Carter. Mike, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
So you are an authority on the Andy Griffith Show, correct? Oh, Mayberry, I think that is one of the most classic shows that has ever been around. I don't care if you are 2 years old or 100 years old. Everyone has heard about the Andy Griffith Show. So how did you get involved in all of this?
Well, I always liked the show and I watched it, and I'd heard about this town in North Carolina that is called Mount Airy, is Andy Griffith's hometown. And I went there, and it wasn't during Mayberry days, it was just after Thanksgiving. But the guy that owns Walker's Soda Shop there, David Jones, he kind of got me interested because he said, wow, you know so much about the show. And you know, they have a big international trivia contest here, and you're a shoo-in to win with your knowledge. Are you kidding me? First year I competed, I got blown away. But it took me a while, and currently I'm a 4-time runner-up champion and a 2-time world champion.
Wow. Now, naturally, you started watching, you just were a fan like everybody else. And
Sure.
did you ever think that this would end up where it is today and that you are actually in a movie?
Yeah, no, I never thought that. I just started collecting it and just interested in it. But then when I made my first trip to Mayberry days, I just fell in love with my Mayberry family, and they're great people. They kind of carry on the morals of what the Andy Griffith Show had, and that's what's so special to me when the world was in a much better place.
Yeah, that I was just going to say, back in the day when Andy Griffith was shot, and of course Mayberry, that was a town where, crime was not like it is today. And it was just a better life. How would you say television has changed over the years, in your opinion, from the Andy Griffith Show, for the better or for the worse?
Oh, definitely for the worse. In
Uh,
fact, I don't watch a whole lot of modern day television. I just don't. I'm more interested in the old stuff.
mhm. And why do you think the Andy Griffith Show is the success it is today? I mean, we're talking 60 something years after the fact when the first episode aired. And, you still hear people humming and whistling the tune. And why do you think that show is so popular today? What draws people to it?
I think it's the morals that they had and the friendliness of everybody that were out to help people, and just a good environment.
hmm Now, this movie, you've done some acting before in your life, or is this the first role? Or
Yeah, I do a little acting on stage, portraying some skits. When going
because you portray Barney Fife locally for different events, correct?
locally, yes. At events, I don't. They have their own Barney, and he's really great. They've had a couple of them. But there, I'm Sergeant Carter, and I really enjoy that role. It's a lot of fun. I just my
Now,
job.
you seem like a low-keyed, natured gentleman.
Mhm.
And as you know, Sergeant Carter was always "Roar!" yelling. Did you sort of have to psych yourself up a little bit for that part?
Not really. I used to be an umpire.
Oh.
And I was used to getting yelled at, and
hmm
and used to a very loud voice. So it was just kind of a natural. And the first time we did it, it just David Browning, who was the Barney Fife impersonator, said, "Mike, you guys just stole the show." He said it's really great. We just can't wait to do it again in the main event tonight.
hmm
So,
Now, this movie, Mayberry Man, was filmed in Mount Airy, North Carolina, correct?
partially.
Okay.
Most of it was filmed in Danville, Indiana, where we
Okay.
host the Mayberry in the Midwest there.
All right.
Now,
But Mount Airy is actually Andy Griffith's hometown where he was born, correct?
I'm not sure
Or
if he
grew
was
up
born
or
there, but he
lived
grew
there?
up there.
He
Yes,
grew up there.
yes.
Now, you were there, obviously. What did it feel like standing there?
So, okay, I was not in filming in Mount Airy.
Oh, okay, so
I
you
was
filmed
I was in Danville.
Danville,
And it
Indiana.
wound up,
Okay.
the last part was filmed in LA.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, everything ends up always back in Los Angeles, doesn't it? Now, when you did the film, what was a day like on the set for you? For someone out there watching that has never been on a movie set, what does a day consist of for an actor?
Well, a lot of observing, a lot of watching people. I mean, it was a lot of laughter, and primarily you were just, waiting,
Mhm.
and it, it takes a long time because this was a professional group from Hollywood that was there. They were very good, and they were pretty patient with us amateurs.
Yeah, now is it true that the people that are behind the film are sort of children of some of the people that had stuff to do with the show years ago? For example, Ronnie Shell, who played Duke Slater back on Gomer Pyle. It was all, and it's amazing how Gomer Pyle, Mayberry RFD, Andy Griffith's show, everything centered around Mayberry back in the day. That is quite unusual. But anyway, Ronnie Shell's son, I believe, is a big part of this
Yes,
project.
Greg Shell. Yeah, he was one of the main of the three people that was producing and directing the show. Yes, along with Hulk Howell's two sons, Stark and Court Howell. They were there were sons of him, and Hulk Howell played Dud Warsh, Charlene Darlin's husband. Yeah.
Interesting. Now, we were talking about Danville and this festival. What exactly is the festival? It's a Mayberry festival, but what happens? I mean, are things recreated there, or what basically goes on?
A lot of that goes on, and incidentally, it has been discontinued this year. We just got the word last week that they're not having it anymore. So hopefully, so it used to be in.
Do you think it could move to another town?
Yeah, it used to be in Newcastle. Okay, and then it was been there probably 8 or 9 years in Danville, but they opted not to do it anymore. But it was a lot of fun, and they have the skits. There's a lot of character actors. There's a character actor for almost every main character there. Gomer, Goober, all of them. And some of the people from the show actually show up. Maggie Peterson Macuso, she played Charlene Darlin. She shows up on a regular basis. And there's Karen Knotts, Don Knotts' daughter, comes to them, and she's quite a joy to be around. And Margaret Carey, she is there also, and some of them, Betty Lynn, who just passed away, she was always
Thelma
there.
Lou.
Yes, Thelma Lou. She was what a sweetheart. And there's been and now the childhood characters are showing up now. Keith Tinnabow, who played Johnny Paul Jason, Opie's best friend. His main claim to fame is he was little Ricky Ricardo in the
Yes,
Lucy show.
yes, I remember him well.
Yeah, and he's really good to talk to backstage. I really enjoyed him.
And I bet he has stories to tell.
So, and Ronnie Dapo has been showing up. He played the spoiled kid with the bicycle. Yeah, and it was. He's a lot of fun, and Ronald Rush has been there now, and he was Howie Pruitt in every episode, but he was Howie Williams in another episode where Barney tried his hand at real estate.
Now, this festival has been going on for how long?
Okay, the one in North Carolina, it's around 30 years. Yeah.
Wow, so obviously Andy Griffith was aware of these festivals, correct?
Yes.
Did anybody ever hear his take on it? Or did he ever make an appearance? Do you know?
I do not know because I started going there. My first year there was 2009, and I've been there every year except two. Because I couldn't go one time I was injured, and the time my wife had passed away, so I wasn't there. But I'm a regular there.
Now, getting back to the movie, Mayberry Man, how does it feel for you to be a part of something like that? I mean, think about it. You're immortalized on film forever now.
Well, I had, my car was more of a star in this show than me. I had some very minute parts in it,
Speaking of the car, I need to throw this in. There is actually a Mayberry police car standing in the driveway of this gentleman's home. As well as also, I might as well bring up about $5,000 collection of all kind of Mayberry merchandise.
Well, it was just valued at about 25,000.
Wow, 25,000.
Yeah.
And get this, folks, a barber shop set up in this gentleman's home as Floyd's barber shop. That is unbelievable. I would say that is living the part, definitely. And where did you get all of this memorabilia? How did you collect all of this stuff?
Well, some of it came from eBay. A lot of it came from other people at Mayberry events. We have an auction there, and I bought it. But I go to a lot of auctions, and I find things there too. That's where I bought the barber chair, and then I had it redone.
Wow. And do you think a lot of people, when they get rid of this, they don't even realize the value that's behind it?
Some people, I mean, the Mayberry family, they know, and a lot of their collections are priceless. They're not into peddling. They don't want to sell it.
Yeah. Now in the film, I understand Mayberry was sort of recreated, sets and everything, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it was called the Mayberry Festival in it, where a young man, actually it was from a takeoff from an episode of the Andy Griffith Show where a little guy, a 19-year-old speedster, came through town and ran a vegetable truck off of the highway, and he was charged. Bill Bixby played the part, and he got a lesson of Mayberry. So the judge in the movie is really, he portrays Mayor Pike in Mayberry events. And he's very, very good at it. And he was the judge in it. And he told him there would be no fine. He sentenced him to spend a week at Mayberry Fest.
Yeah, that's why. So tell a little bit the storyline, what you could, about the film. It centers on Mayberry, but you said somebody was speeding through town, correct? Got pulled over and basically went to court and was sentenced to spend time at the Mayberry Festival, correct? So what exactly, how did all that come? Is that sort of the premise of the story? Can you give a little detail?
Well, sure. And then he didn't even want to be a part of it. He really resented it, portrayed it just a rich kid that just wanted out of there. But spending a week there, he kind of picked up on their values and learned to appreciate it.
And I'm going to throw a question at you, seeing that you are an expert. Do you know where the original first episode, or I could say, I guess, the first season of the Andy Griffith Show was filmed in Los Angeles?
Well, the first, are you talking about the pilot episode?
The pilot and the series.
Okay, well, the pilot episode aired off of the Danny Thomas Show on February the 15th of 1960.
But do you know the studios that it was done at?
So, the studio. Well, it was Desi Lou Studios.
Yes, shoot! I thought I had one on them. I
did. And it was a place on a 40-acre plot called Culver City.
Yes.
And I just learned this not really recently that Lillian Culver in episode 2 portrayed Barney's mother. That's where the name got Culver. Lillian Culver.
Yeah, and it was Desi Lou Studios, and back in the day, because I have visited their folks, but yeah, that was all tied in, and the Culver back lot and everything. It was really unbelievable. And I myself have visited the original set of the Andy Griffith Show, and I have to tell you, I was in heaven. I mean, I could not believe standing at Mayberry. But the time I was there now, it was Paramount Studios, because after a while they moved from Desi Lou onto Paramount, and I was on the set of Paramount to see it. But it was unbelievable, and how the sets were created and how they made the streets, and you saw the police station and you saw Floyd's barber shop, and I can only shoot myself that I don't have pictures of it. But back in that day, you weren't walking around, and of course, probably, I'm sure there wasn't, no camera was allowed anywhere on the set. But yeah, I don't have pictures of it, but I have a very vivid memory of it.
Yeah, I have aerial views and pictures of it.
Now, out of the Andy Griffith Show, do you have a favorite episode that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, actually, I really have two.
Oh, okay. And what are they?
Well, number one is Gomer joins the Marines
Mhm.
because I portray his sergeant, and I do that scene when he joined when
Mhm.
he gets in all kinds of trouble, and put a bucket on his head and make him sing the Marines hymn and things like that. That's a lot of fun. And my second one is the first high school reunion, the one that Peggy McKay was in as
Mm.
Sharon Despain.
Yes, the late
Yes.
great Peggy McKay, who's an actress. If anybody is a big fan of Days of Our Lives,
Uh-huh.
the daytime soap opera on NBC, she played Carolyn Brady on that show.
Sure.
But Peggy was in the Andy Griffith show, and she was Andy's first love, first girlfriend,
High school sweetheart.
high school sweetheart.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yes. Mhm.
Yes, I remember that
Yes.
so well. Now, what do you think, Andy knowing this, Andy Griffith in real life, what do you think he would think today? Naturally, he's gone, but what do you think he would think to know that this is going on and he created such a, I don't know what you want to call it, such a mega hit, whatever, that people today are still interested.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a friend that just bought the whole series a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
unbelievable. What do you think he would say on all this? Or would he
Well-
say everyone's nuts?
Well, I think he would be. I think he would be in awe of the popularity that it is today, and I'm not even sure he would realize how much he is loved and cherished and
An icon.
respected for this. Oh yeah, definitely. As was Ronnie Howard. When he walked into the room, he said, "And you're all Mayberry fans. Why?"
hmm What was it like meeting Ronnie in person?
Oh, it was very thrilling. As soon as he asked that question, I said, "Well, I'd like to answer that." Takes us back to my childhood, where the world was a much better place,
Mhm.
and you just like to go back there and reminisce. And he said, "I like that." He came over and shook my hand, introduced himself, which he didn't need an introduction.
Yeah, and it is interesting how you say that. A much better place, whatever. I mean, yeah, it totally was. I mean, back in the day, things were, and as you remember, the Andy Griffith Show, and be at home cooking everything, and that's it. I hear music. That must be Andy answering from above. He hears what we're saying. Oh, the clock is going off. Okay. Can't control that, folks. So, in this movie, now getting back to the movie Mayberry Man, you done it. What are you hoping to get out of it? Is this just a personal satisfaction thing, or are you looking for more recognition? Are you looking for more stardom?
No, not really. I'm not an actor. I just portray one. But my kids.
I love
really
that. I'm not an actor. I just portray one in a movie.
And my kids were very excited, and they had a big party and everything, and we watched because I have a copy of it. They gave me a copy of it,
Mhm.
and the kids were really really proud of me. And Bonnie, my daughter, went to see it at a theater and was just telling everybody. Says,
Now it is.
"That's my dad."
Yeah. Now we want to talk. It is playing in certain. First of all, it is on Amazon Prime for anybody that has that, and it is in certain theaters around the country, certain areas. And I think if you go to mayberryman.com is where you can find a lot of information about it, where it's playing and so forth. Now let me ask you this: is this just going to be a memory for you, or is this something that you really took seriously doing?
Well, kind of both. Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun to make it, and it's a lot of fun to be anywhere with my Mayberry family.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm. And what did people say in the area? Did you start to become a star in the neighborhood where you live?
Oh well, yeah, people stop by. I mean, they bring me newspaper articles. They go on vacation and they bring me all kinds of stuff. Oh, I saw this sign of Barney Fife. Well, it's getting hard to find things that I don't have, but we always have benefits at these, at the outings, and so I donate a lot of things to that, which helps, Mayberry Days.
Now you had the chance of being in the movie. What do you think life would have been like for you if you were in the actual show?
Whoa! I do think about that. Man, I would have. That would have just been beyond imagination. It would have been just so thrilling, and then it would be a lot different at maybe events for me if I was.
Mhm.
But
Now, seeing that you had a taste of Hollywood and you probably never thought this in your life, what do you think of how the way Hollywood operates, the way the movie was filmed? What was sort of the procedure? Is it lights, camera, action? Is that it, or is there much more to it, or what?
So yes, I mean, they were very well organized as far as makeup. I had a button off, man. They were right on it, putting a button back on it, and
Did they make sure everything is like we hear Hollywood? Everything is perfect. Makeup's perfect. Clothes are perfect. Was anybody adjusting you, fixing you up?
Yes, at times they were. It's just the cameraman was so particular to have everything just perfect.
Perfect
There
shot.
were many takes,
Mhm.
but you're dealing with a lot of amateurs, so
Mhm.
and they were very patient.
And they worked with you to
Oh,
get it
yes.
perfect. Now, what did you think when you were actually doing it and you saw this? Did you think, like, what the heck? Did you first think you're just going to come in, shoot it, boom, it's done and over? I mean, what did you think to yourself of watching all these people in action? Because I have been in Los Angeles and I've done shows. I know how all this works. I mean, these people are really professionals in their field and they look for perfection and strive because there's awards waiting at the end and everything. So what was your opinion of that? Gentlemen coming from the Midwest, and were you like, wow, this is what goes on?
Yeah, it was. It seemed like to me that it would be a very thrilling career to have, but I had no idea that it would take that long because it was my first experience in it.
Now, when the movie came out, was there any red carpet or anything? Did you guys
So,
go to?
Well, there was. Unfortunately, I could not go.
Oh.
Because not the one in Danville, Indiana, not the one in Mount Airy, because I was dumb enough to think I could still water ski, and I ripped my hamstring completely off my bone and had to have surgery and couldn't sit very long. I definitely couldn't drive.
Did you hear anything about the red carpet? Were everybody walking in character and everything?
Yeah, it was really good because we communicate pretty well with the Mayberry family a lot on Facebook and texting and stuff.
Do you think today's social media keeps this show alive too? Because it is on YouTube. It's all over. People talk about it. There are Mayberry fan pages out. Do you think that helps as opposed to 30 years ago when you didn't have that?
Oh, definitely it does, because it's an easy way to communicate. And at the last count, there are over 1,400 Mayberry fan clubs.
Wow,
Worldwide.
1,400 Mayberry fan clubs. I don't even have one. That is quite unbelievable. Now, tell me, when you were getting in wardrobe for the film, like you said, they were helping you and all. Was it a procedure? Do you sit on set? Did you wait? Is there the green room? What was the whole procedure of the film? Did they just call, Mike Havel and you're needed on stage, or how did all of that work?
Well, they would tell you when your cue is to go in, when
Right.
they get to a certain way. But because for me and a lot of other people, it was just really like you were watching a movie and really enjoying the movie, watching it.
Watching the movie
so you wanted
being
to be
made.
there. You wanted to be there all day.
Sure.
Yeah.
How many people were on set, like in your scenes?
Oh well, it varied because a lot of extras, just people walking,
Just walking
constantly
by.
back and forth. Yeah, lots.
Now, do they warn the people what to do? We want you to walk this way, do this, don't look at the camera. They tell you the whole procedure, huh?
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. And once again, did you ever think you would do something like this in your life? Are you shocked? Your family, anyone, were people surprised by this?
Well, my family wasn't, because my kids, they've been seeing this obsession, they call it, of mine for many years, and they weren't too surprised, but they were excited.
And now that it is all over, is that how you feel? Just excited? Is it just another blurb on a resume? How do you feel about it?
Well, yeah, and it doesn't end, because I still get phone calls. Papers. I've been interviewed by numerous papers, but after the movie came out, I was interviewed by a local paper here, a pretty large paper, the Times, and then some people read that, like yourself, and then contact me, and that's how this started.
So it's sort of a little chain reaction
Sure.
from doing this film. Well, anyway, Mike, it was a lot of fun having you on the show, and Much continued success. Let me ask you this: if you had a chance or have a chance to star in something else besides Mayberry, what would it be?
Oh, wow. Wow, that's man. I don't. The only the only other major family I have is our local fire department.
Oh.
So maybe something that, but I doubt
Something
that
fire
because,
related. Chicago Fire, the
so-
show, right?
I don't know about that. I never thought about that. That's caught me off guard with that one.
Yes. Well, thank you for being on the show.
Well, it was my pleasure, and thank you. These seats here for the waiting for the barber is actual seats from the Andy Griffith Playhouse in Mount Airy, North Carolina. Now that you've entered the room, is mandatory done.
Yes.
You have to sign the book.
Oh, okay.